I'll get into a little bit about why we're in this circle while we do this. The idea is that we are beginning to work in circles like this. This is a perfect example of our working groups as we build community. We work in circles. We work in being able to communicate eye to eye and express ourselves. And that's what the service is going to be about today. So let's close our eyes and begin to go into that space of prayer where we say, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. Thank you, and we open ourselves up to the love and the light that flows through us, that is us. On this beautiful day, with this beautiful spiritual family that's here, we give our praise, we give our gratitude to the universe for opening the doors of possibility that maybe we've never seen before and never experienced, that we want to experience in this place called community, in this place called love. We open ourselves to possibilities we never dreamed of because we know that Spirit has possibilities that are beyond our own comprehension. And so as we let go of old barriers, as we drop those walls, as we open ourselves to circles instead of sitting in front of someone supposedly preaching the truth, we open ourselves to each other and our hearts to each other and things that are beyond our wildest, most beautiful dreams. And we allow that to come in. And we say, thank you, Source, God, universe, light, and all that is. So it is. Amen. Namaste. Namaskar. Before we go into that meditation, I want to thank Mary and Tom. I came back from the Positive Award, the Posi Awards and the Posi Fest this last week, and honestly, I have to say, the best week of my life, because I was surrounded. Between 5 and 9 years ago, I worked with all those artists every day and booked them all over the country, and watching that event this year grow to where there were probably 4 times the number of singer-songwriters all out giving this amazing message through their song and their message was simply amazing to me. And every time I turned around, it's just like being in this room. When I turned around, I was looking at singer-songwriters who were expressing themselves through their music in a way I've never experienced before. I mean, you see it on the Grammy. Is it the Grammys or it's the Grammys that do the music, right? Shows what I know. But you see that on TV, and that's what you get to experience. And we have that in our community in Unity. We have these people just like you and me that are having these thoughts that come through us, these pieces of gratitude and beauty that are so gorgeous. And when you get to hear that experience, that's what I went for. It was to reconnect with those artists, so many artists that I worked with years ago. And then I had to stop 5 years ago. And I had to start this journey of becoming a spiritual leader at a Unity because that's what I was called to do. So I got to go back and get to feel what it feels like to bring this stuff back up and bring it forward so that you all can experience, so I can experience something beautiful and that is amazing and that is happening all over this planet. And it's happening in this country. So as we close our eyes and we get ready to go into meditation, we are love, and we call in the Christ consciousness of that love, that of which we are, and compassion, because through love, we bring compassion into our lives. And if we can learn, it's not if, as we learn what compassion is through love, and we learn to speak the language, we become what the Christ consciousness is all about. We begin to unveil ourselves from what the world has taught us love was, or what compassion was, or these other things that the world has transformed into something that it possibly is not even. So as we allow compassion and love to flow through this body, and we're open to the topics and the conversations that are going to come through me and that are going to come through you, as we open our eyes to the windows of our souls on this day and every day forward, we go into the silence and we accept that understanding of compassion and love. And as we hear those beautiful children's voices in the background, it simply complements every piece of gratitude that we have. So as we go into the message today, I know it was a jump for some of you to walk into a setting, a setting where you're not all lined up and we're all looking up here, and we're all at attention and all of that. We have people coming here every day now that are stretching my boundaries, that are filling me up with love, and I know it's filling you up with love too. And it's stretching all of our boundaries because we're looking at the world in a little bit different way. So this happened last night during the potluck and during our night. Every Saturday night we do a dance in there, just a movement, an expression of movement. And all week long, I've personally just been calling in, how do I expand my own consciousness? How do I allow the things that are coming into me? And I know this happens for all of us. How do I allow these new things that are coming into me, these new ideas, these new thought processes? How am I going to be able to stand in the middle of this room and walk around in circles and look into your eyes and tell you how much I love you? And how glad I am that you're here and that you're a part of this family that we are growing together. Hello. I'm blown away by it, and I find it amazing. And the place also, we had dogs coming, and then we had to kind of find a place, find a way to where we could serve everyone that's coming here that maybe is on a cane. We need to respect that with our animals. And, so I put those little funny collars on my dog to train them a little better, and it's working. Because we want to honor the people that have dogs too. We want to reach out and teach our dogs how to behave and be compassionate toward them and let them be compassionate toward us and let us be compassionate toward the people that maybe aren't even dog lovers, but the animals may be in here. So what the talk is today is about, it's about that compassion. It's about, first of all, love. Because when love's coming through us, We've talked about this in other topics and other conversations that we've had in topics, and I think I'm going to read first from Paramahansa Yogananda's. This is a gift given to us by Dr. Steve Brenner, and we talk about love. Pure love in human hearts radiates a universal Christ love. Listen to these words very, very carefully, please. There's so much in this paragraph. To expand continuously the circle of one's love is to attune human consciousness with the only begotten Son. Loving family, now that begotten Son, as we speak about it here, is the Christ consciousness that's within us. We're not talking necessarily about a man here, even though Jesus Christ, we know, and others represented that love in this way of that true that consciousness that is we call the Christ consciousness. We don't call that a man. That was Jesus, and Jesus was the Christ fully filled with this consciousness. Loving family members is the first step in expanding self-love to those nearby. And that can be one of the toughest, right? Loving all of our family members when we had to grow up in that, and we had the opportunity to grow up in that, but we're still learning from that, how we can grow, because it tests us probably more than anything else sometimes. Loving all human beings of whatever race and nationality is to know Christ love. It is God alone as the omnipresent Christ who is responsible for all expressions of life. So God is life. God is the expression of life. Life is God. Life is us flowing through as Christ consciousness. The Lord is painting glorious scenery in the ever-changing clouds and sky. He is, and we can use he as it or whatever we choose, but here we say he is creating altars of his fragment loveliness in the flowers, in everything and everyone, friends and enemies, mountains, forests, ocean, air, the wheeling galactic canopy overreaching all. The Christ devotee sees the one blended light of God. We are here blending that light of God, seeing everything as love and beauty, and we can do it. We can really do that. We have the tools within us to do it. And we do that. We spent 5 weeks in the art of meditation, seeing how important it was to let that meditation and that stillness come through us so we can see it, so we can experience. Without the meditation, it's very difficult. My experience was. It was very difficult to see these things we're talking about in these words. But when we meditate and we find the clarity of what that Christ consciousness is, we begin to understand these words on a much deeper level. He finds that myriad expression of the one light, often seemingly chaotic, in conflict with contradictions, were created by God's intelligence not to delude human beings or to afflict them, but to coax them to seek the infinite whence they have emerged, to seek it, to understand it, to be at one with it. One who looks not to the parts, as Jesse would say, not to the teeth or the bones or the lips or the mouth. And I paraphrased there. Because those all operate independently of the entire organism of the structure. And you, Joshua, thank you for being such a good teacher, man. But to the whole discerns the purpose of creation, that without expectation we are moving inexorably toward universal salvation. Oneness with the universe, oneness with God. All the rivers are moving toward the ocean. The rivers of our lives are moving toward God. Love. That's love. It's big. It's beautiful. It's us. And so we get to come into this kind of place, and we get to try to begin to understand. And where we're going to get ready to go into this, if you look up on the screen, you see these words, we see these words known as compassionate communication. And we see these words and these systems we're beginning to develop called non-violent communication. Something happened along this journey in mankind, and it allowed us to forget what compassionate love is truly about sometimes in our experience, right? So sometimes we found ourselves being violent, literally violent, in the way we communicate with people, right? Have you ever had that experience? You ever had that experience growing up? Can you remember a time that kind of maybe formed some part of you? When somebody, I'll give you a personal example. As a kid, and I didn't even know what the words meant at that time. But as a kid, I'd be sitting at the elementary school table. I'm thinking 4th, 6th grade, something like that. Junior high for sure. And my name, Bates. People took that and called me Queer Bates. And as a child, that hurt. That formed something in me, and it was not very compassionate, was it? Now, and I know these things happen to each of us in different ways. That's why we can all relate on this level, because in our own ways, we've had some kind of experience where we were made to feel less than by someone else or by ourselves, right? So what happened in humanity that caused that to happen? Let's go into the next screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read now what compassion is out of the Revealing Word from Charles Fillmore. I refer to this book a lot. Compassion, divine compassion. In the heart of God exists an eternal tenderness and mercy for his children. It's eternal. It's never ending. We are his children. It's there for us. Jehovah is gracious and merciful. And then we look at the next one. It says compassion, the human experience. The last one was the divine experience. Compassion in the human experience. A characteristic of love and mercy. Do we understand what love and mercy is? Are we interpreting it the correct ways? Are we using it in ways that serves life, that serves us, that serves love? Is that how we're using it? Have we always used it that way? Are we trying to learn? By an understanding heart. A compassionate mind sees the error. A compassionate mind sees the error in our ways, in our talking, but does not condemn. Therefore, it creates compassion, right? Neither do I condemn thee. Go thy way, from hindrance, sin no more. Be off the mark no more. Sin. In unity, we call that being off the mark. It's not good or bad. We're off the mark. It's a sin. But we don't use that word here because that makes it, we've turned that into a really dirty, ugly word in our world. And to throw that word at someone, is there compassion in that? I don't see it. To be off the mark, I can live with that. A way to communicate with people that, and even if I am doing something that is not of my highest standing or the highest standing of God that is within me, I can still be off the mark and learn from it and grow from it and find beauty and expression in that. It's powerful because that's how we learn. And we talk about that in our shadow work on Wednesdays sometimes. Where we're getting ready to go with this, my friends, is I don't believe we are just here to come listen to me talk every single Sunday. That's silly. We're creating a spiritual center here where you and I can communicate and can look into each other's eyes and can begin to know each other and love each other and respect each other and have a conversation. And I hope you don't mind I'm doing this with you because I'm loving it. I want to fall in love with each and every one of you, just like you want to fall in love with me. Because there's something about falling in love with people that is so beautiful and so dynamic. And we're just not used to saying it. Not in this way, not staring into people's eyes from across the room. And that's why we're sitting in this circle today. Another thing I was thinking of the whole time, I've been saying, well, if we grow, we're going to run out of room in here. Look what we can do by turning into circles. We got all the chairs in a circle, and look at this great big old space in the middle. We got plenty of room to grow. I can put another circle there. I can put another circle there. I don't have to worry about that anymore, right? Thank you for those that brought it to my attention. Why don't we try this? And in my fear, what fear came up for me in my compassionate behavior or non-compassionate behavior as I might have been having was, well, somebody's going to say they don't like it, or they're going to be upset that we move the chairs, or that it's not going to look right, and somebody's backs are going to be to the screens. Let's try it. I'm really feeling good about the way this feels to me right now. I'm really feeling good about that. I'm feeling good about watching your eyes watch other people in the room and connect with other people in the room. So the next thing we do, so we've been through meditation, right? We've done the art of meditation, and some people have been here, some haven't, but they've gotten what they needed. It's not about being here. It's about getting what you need when you do come. A place of spiritual fulfillment is what a center is what a church could be. We choose to call this a spiritual center. Some people still call it a church. But the beautiful part of it is we come here to be spiritually fed. There's something that pulls us together to work with one another to be spiritually fed so that we can go back out into the world for another week or another month or however long we're going to go and feel that love and compassion and express it and work it. Because what happens when we work it? Thoughts? Tell me what happens when you work compassion and love out in the world. Speak it out.
It's better.
It changes everything. Reflects on everybody else.
Comes back to you.
So that's what we're learning how to do. But you know what we got to do? We got to learn how to do that because we've forgotten. We've forgotten as a society. We've forgotten how to do that. So we get these genius pieces of work on love, and we get these genius expressions of a revolution. What is compassion? What is what we're talking about? A revolutionary way to honor everyone. Nonviolent communication. Compassionate communication. We don't have to do it the way they taught us. We don't. You don't. Stop it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it anymore. You don't have to do it that way because it's just going to lead you to some part of a bad day. If you express something ugly to someone and you didn't even know you do it, I do it all the time. I do it all the time. I'd rather say something else to my dogs that they got energetically than no, I'm sorry. I love you. I love you. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. I did not mean that. I did not mean that. It's a game changer. It can change, and thank you. I don't come up with these words by myself. I get to come here and express them to you so that we can go back into a circle and learn how to do this together. It's a game changer. It can change our experience and that of others. Being compassionate, not speaking in violent terms on anything we do anymore, but we got to learn how. Deepak Chopra refers to this work as well. Many teachers do. And all the religions talk about it, right? Compassion, love. Then they keep saying those words, compassion, love. They keep saying those words. But in society, we've messed up the words. So we interpret the words differently than what maybe religions are trying to express to us, right? Next, please. Joshua. Thank you. The purpose. Why would we want to change the way we talk? Why would we want to change the way we think and feel? Why would we want to change our language? Yeah. Change our lives. It helps us to connect in a way that makes natural giving possible. Natural giving is life. It is life sustaining. It is life building. It's beautiful. It focuses on what we do want in our life instead of focusing on what we don't want. You can't do that. Well, that's not how you do it. The government's going to come and close you down. Stupid? Yeah, you're stupid. Yeah. How many times do we hear this? We don't have to hear that. What is the greatest possibility for you in that space? Did you have a thought about something? About doing something about a crock-pot cook-off? What comes to your mind to do with that crock-pot cook-off? What comes to my mind to do with my animals? You got a new puppy. I want to honor you and your puppy. I want to make this a safe space for you and your puppy to come and play with my dogs.
No, you don't. She bounced off the walls and the ceiling.
You see what I'm saying, though? And I'm sure you want that. I think you want that for me. I'm going to believe that you want that for me and my animals, that they respect and honor everyone here so everybody can have a great experience together as a family. Then it outlines a way to support this thinking of how we do and what we do. So we need an outline, right? We need something to go by as we learn this. When I started looking at nonviolent communication, I'm listening to these things going, wait, what did he just say? Wait, how do we do that? Wait, that's confusing to me. Next, please. So, as we listen more and more on how to actually communicate and verbalize this way, so what happens to human beings? We went over this a second ago a little bit. Religions all seem to believe in love and compassion and communication. Our nature as human beings is to exercise our power, all of this stuff, to exercise all the good coming out of this, coming out of me, coming out of you, to exercise it so that I walk up to you and you say, Bates, I'd really like this in my life. And I go, how can I support you in that? How can I love you through that? And you tell me, you share that with me. And then I share it back with you lovingly if I can. And if I can't, maybe I know Leroy. And maybe Leroy can. Or maybe you or you. This compassionate side of who we are can be so powerful, and it's so beautiful. It's our nature, it's life, it's the love of who we are, and we want to give that out, and we want to receive it. So when I ask you what is love, and I want you to go deep with this, shout out to me some things that you think love is, and don't make it a pronoun. Can you do that? How do you feel love? How do you feel loved, Carla? If you don't mind me asking. Understanding by who? Whoever you're talking to. And then in the understanding, what happens? How do you communicate that?
Well, when you understand each other, there's no resistance. There's no, well, I disagree because, and then you take it as an attack, as an, oh God, well, I'm doing something wrong, or you're doing something wrong. Creates this huge
Right.
gap.
Exactly.
But when there's understanding, there's that bridge, and it's like, all right, well, you and me.
And then you feel loved through that, right? Because then we can understand each other and I can give you back something, you can give it back to me. Mary, any thoughts? Acceptance. Love. I love you, Mary. I do love you. And maybe we haven't understood each other every day all the time, but who cares about that? As long as we can learn to have the conversations and love each other, right? Let that stuff go. What are you holding on to that for? Why in the world would we hold on to that? Why? I ask myself, why do I hold on to it? I don't know, but I want to change. I want to learn to do it differently. Compassion is how we are meant to be. Next, please. Skills. So what are the skills that it takes to learn to do this? This is important. Okay, so now we're getting into the nuts and bolts of it. How do we develop the skills to change the way that we've been taught by society to be ugly to other people and to ourselves? What skills are necessary to live compassionately? These skills are quite different than we were taught. These skills were developed for the structure we live in, not our true nature, which is compassion. From the time we were little, my brothers and sisters, we were taught, if you do that, you're going to be condemned, or if you do it real bad, you're going to prison. That sucks. What if there was a way to have a conversation where nobody went to prison, where we could accept each other and have a circle like this? And they might be small circles. So the idea is we have a big circle. You've seen the diagram out there. And within the big circle, there's small circles of things that you like to do, Daniel. You're drawn to. You like to do, Karen. You like to do, Nettie. Thank you for showing up. I've just met you. Thank you. Thanks for following us and being drawn here. So we create small circles within the circle. And that's what we're getting ready to start doing now. We're going to start teaching ourselves how to create a way of communicating with each other to build a better world. And we start right here in our own community. We start in this community right here because you can go out and do it in the world, but let's learn how to do it right here first with people that are having the same common language, that are wanting that experience because we're in here talking together. These skills were developed for the structures we live in, not for the true nature, which is compassion. Next, please. Now, there are 4 components of giving to life. So when we're giving to life, we're giving to the love that is within us. We're giving to the compassion that is within us. And we're sharing that back and forth between each other. And we're doing it in the most loving way that we possibly can. We're learning to change our words from what we've been taught for them a few years, for us up to 120 maybe in here, I don't know. Long time unprogramming to do there, or reprogramming. So we got to learn. So 4 components of giving life. What are your needs? What are my needs? Do you know what they are? Do you know what makes you feel good? What are your needs? Can you express those openly and honestly with me? I think you can. I'm not going to judge you. I used to judge you, maybe. Maybe you used to judge me. Maybe you judged the whole world. Maybe I judged the whole world. I don't need to do that anymore with you, do I? How's that going to serve anybody? How's it going to serve you? How's it going to serve me? Second one, observation of our needs by others. Can you observe what my needs are? Can you look into my eyes, hear my conversations, and observe what makes me tick? Maybe. The more we get to know each other, the more you can do that. Same with you, Greg. Our feelings. Can you feel my feelings? Can I feel your feelings? And can we be clear enough in feeling those feelings that we put away the judgment, unconditional love, inclusivity, integrity, empowering, grateful? And as a spiritual leader here, I did add non-judgment to that. And there's another word we moved to, past non-judgment. Anybody remember what it is for me? It's on the front of your programs. And then I can begin to understand your feelings. So if I can understand your feelings, I can observe your needs, then I can begin to ask you how I can serve you. John, you're serving in an amazing community with a sustainable living group that we're doing, and your psychological work, I don't know exactly how to say that. You, Maxine, amazing work you're doing out in the world. And then requesting that those need to be honored. So I'm going to request now, I'm going to be brave enough to request that you honor me. And you're going to teach me how to do that. And you're going to teach me how to do that. And then I'm going to respond. And you're going to request from me what makes you feel good, what honors you. Because all of this is done in a place of honor and respect. If it's not done in a place of honor and respect, if it's done in a place where I'm trying to get something from you, it changes the picture. I'm not trying to get anything from you. I'm wanting to give to you. I'm wanting to love you through it. And if you're giving freely to me, and I'm giving freely to you, hi. We have communication happening on a brand new level. Next. This way of compassionate communications answers two questions. What is alive in me, in us? What would make life more beautiful for me and for you? Do you want anything else than that? If you do, tell me. Do you want anything more than your life being beautiful? Beautiful in every aspect. I can't think of anything more I want. And it takes you all for me to feel that way. Because we're here to serve each other. I didn't come here to be by myself the whole time I came to this planet. I mean, evidently, because we're all here. It wouldn't make sense that I'm supposed to be doing it all by myself, does it? And what we ask, what would make life more wonderful for others? So how can I make your life more wonderful? How can each of us make each other's life more wonderful? Next, please. We must avoid. We're going to learn these things. This Wednesday nights now, we are setting up this next step in our work. So Wednesday nights, if you want to learn how to begin to speak this way and to do these things and to think this way, to shift your programming, I invite you. You don't have to come, but I invite you. It's a more intense way of doing what we're doing here today. What we do on Sundays, we do an overview of what we're looking for in our lives to expand us. Oh, and I'm running late. And Tom may have to leave because I'm running so late. But if he does, and we'll go with Mary. And it's all good, and it's beautiful. So I apologize, time for that, Tom. You feel free if you got to get up and run away. I get it. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a beautiful way. Language that sounds derogatory. No more. I don't have room for it, my friends. And I really don't think you have room for it. I'm not going to open my mouth, and if I do, I hope you will say, Bates, do you realize what you just did? Can we talk about that in this format? And not condemning me, and I probably didn't even say that right. And we have people that will say, how should I have said that?
Somebody could say, hey, I felt sad when you shared that with me, I mean, would you be willing to communicate that?
It's so easy to do this to people, my friends. Every thought we have, if we are focused, is powerful and beautiful and good. Express it. Make it come alive. Make it live you. Allow it to live you. Next. and the new way. A new way of being, a new way of creating communities, a new way of bringing more consciousness onto this planet. So as the mass consciousness of the planet rises up, we're not talking about it. We're doing it. We're living it. There's a difference. But the consciousness is happening on this planet, and that's why we're having conversations like this today, and it's happening all over the planet. And people are getting together in groups, and they're getting together in their churches. And we're not judging their churches. Get together where you're called to get together and learn how to do this a new way. And let's change this world right now, because we know we need to change it right now, right? There's some ugly stuff going on out there, and that was pretty derogatory. How should I have said that? See what I mean? But I appreciate it, because I got some go-to people I can go to when I know I just did it wrong. Oh, yeah, there I went again. See, it's all over the place. And I want to change. I want to change that within me. And I believe if you're hearing me, if we're listening to each other, you feel the same thing. Joshua, do you have something, or are you just lifting your hand?
Self-compassion is the first compassion. You love you and love yourself even when you mess up.
Thank you. Thank you, man. So the new way changes our world for ourselves and for everyone we touch. We do it through being loving. This is how we change back into our true nature of life. So I'm not standing up here talking about it. We have people showing up here every single day, and this center is changing so fast and so dramatically. And I'm not putting any walls up. I can't. Because if I'm going to allow this to change as a spiritual leader here, I can't put the walls up. I've got to let you come and to share what it is that you think this ought to be. If we're going to go out and create gardens out there in the back of this place to feed people and to feed populations and to feed ourselves without GMOs, I got to let the walls down and let whatever comes come. And I'm going to throw that in right now. I'm ready to start gardening this week. So if anybody wants to bring anything to show others what we can do in a garden, how we can grow things together, feel free to bring it this week, because I'm going to start out there. This is how we change and go back to our true nature of life. Next, please. That's it.